In this video, we are going to discuss about EIGRP for IPv6 configurations and how it is compared with IPv4. So, you see that the configuration of EIGRP for IPv6 is not overly complicated, but you see that there are few changes to the process of configuration when you compare with IPv4 here. So, you know that this EIGRP is highly implemented. So, this IPv6 when introduced to it becomes highly implemented as well. So, here if you see the table which is followed, and we see that how to configure the EIGRP stepwise. So, here is the table. The table, if you see the basic EIGRP for IPv6 configuration, the first step here, enter into the global configuration mode and type in the command router name / configure terminal, and here enable device IPv6 unicast forwarding. You have to type a command router configuration mode / IPv6 unicast routing. So, you have to mention about the routing type, which is an unicast routing here. The third is enter interface configuration mode. So, when you wanted to configure about the interfaces, you have to enter into the interface configuration mode, which is router config interface. So, then it will enter into the interface mode, enable EIGRP for IPv6 on the interface. Now, your thing is to enable the EIGRP on the interface. So, configure, you see this clearly, configure IF, which is interface mode. So, it entered into the interface mode, so that we have to configure or enable the EIGRP on this interface. So, we have given IPv6 EIGRP and autonomous system number, that is the AS number we have to mention there. So, repeat the steps 1 to 4 for all EIGRP IPv6 interfaces. After that, enter into EIGRP IPv6 router and there into the configuration mode, and you see here the router EIGRP autonomous number is given to each and every interface. Then router EIGRP, we have to provide the router ID and IP address also, so that the complete process of EIGRP is configured on the interfaces for IPv6 configuration. So, when you compare with this is very familiar with IPv4, but there are some changes to it. That means here the network commands are no longer used to indicate the interfaces that will be entered in EIGRP process. So, here the network commands are not used. The only change is network commands are not used in IPv6 as it is in IPv4, because you see they are no longer used to indicate so which interfaces are entering into the EIGRP process. And because of this, every interface needs to be configured with EIGRP, so that it will be having each and every interface will be having their own commands with EIGRP for IPv6, and it is having its own configuration statements for each and every interface. So, here when you compare here the configuration of general EIGRP of IPv6, then you see that in the IPv4 router configuration mode are active, and however the command that is used in EIGRP IPv6 router configuration mode is different and can be changed here. So, you see that the clear entering into the EIGRP IPv6 router configuration mode, you use the first one is global configuration mode, which is configure terminal, and when you enter the IPv6 RIP router configuration mode, then you have to enter IPv6 router EIGRP autonomous system number. Then when you want to shut down or disable, then you clearly enter in the configuration router mode as shutdown or no shutdown. Then this is the entering of the IPv6 router configuration mode, and this is about the possible scenarios. What are the different scenarios when you compare with IPv4 with IPv6, and here the network commands as we discussed are not used, and only each and every interface is configured clearly here. So, this is about the EIGRP IPv6 configurations.